You can watch him every night, Monday through Friday at 5:30 Eastern. Figured Mike would have the gory details here. Okay, so what happens with Cutler? Can you cut him?
Well, you can cut him, Dan, but the problem is because of the contract that was negotiated last year, the Bears are already on the hook for $15.5 million fully guaranteed next year. That's why I think they want to trade him. And I think ultimately the decision to bench him for the rest of the season is the equivalent of putting him in bubble wrap to make sure he doesn't get injured. You don't want a Drew Brees shoulder injury. You don't want a torn ACL. You want to trade him in March if you can and unload him to a team that takes over the 15.5 that the Bears otherwise are going to have to pay him whether he's on the team or not.
So are you stuck with Jay Cutler?
Well, no, you trade him. You try to trade him.
Who's going to trade for him?
Draft picks to get somebody to take him. It's a $4 million cap hit to trade him. And there are plenty of teams out there that have very bad quarterbacks, and there are plenty of coaches who think, I'm the guy who can get through to a player that another coach wasn't able to get the most out of.
Okay, give me one scenario that makes sense here.
How about the Tennessee Titans? He played at Vanderbilt. The Titans are completely irrelevant. They have nothing at quarterback. Why not bring Cutler to town, and why not make the team exciting at least until the games are played next year?
Okay, all right, I'll give you that one. But if you're Tennessee and I can get Cutler, or I go into the draft and try to get a quarterback, and chances are I can get one of these top quarterbacks.
But there's no chance, well, there's no guarantee that one of these top quarterbacks is going to solve your problem. They've been down this path with Jake Locker, the 8th overall pick in 2011. It's a crapshoot. And with Cutler, it's a bit of a crapshoot at this stage of his career, but he has shown that he can play at a high level in the NFL. And look at what Ken Wisenhunt did with Kurt Warner when we gave up on Kurt Warner. Now we're giving up on Jay Cutler. Could Ken Wisenhunt do the same thing with him?
Well, Kurt Warner's a little bit different because he had Eli Manning in there. He was better than Eli Manning when they put in Eli Manning to take his place.
Yeah, there was still that whole donut hole, though, with the St. Louis Rams when they gave up on him. He did have a little bit of a dip down in his career. Either way, though, we've seen what Wisenhunt does with rookies and young quarterbacks, not so much. What does he do with veterans? He goes to the Super Bowl. Not that they become a Super Bowl team, but right now the Titans are – who cares about the Titans? Who's going to watch that game tonight between the Titans and the Jaguars? They are the two most irrelevant teams in the NFL right now, and you bring in Jay Cutler. You may not be better, but you're not going to be irrelevant.
Who benched Cutler?
You know, I've seen reports that it was a coaching – I don't know why it's a coaching decision. What's he going to do, save Mark Trestman's job? Jimmy Clausen's going to come in and save Mark Trestman at this point? It's got to be an organizational decision ultimately aimed at keeping him healthy. The last thing you want to do when you're planning to move on from Jay Cutler, and apparently you are or you wouldn't be benching him, is get the guy injured. And I think they hold out hope for a trade. He gets injured, you can't trade him.
Harbaugh said that he, I guess, is considering the Michigan job, which I would consider that job. It certainly helps whatever price tag he's going to have with an NFL team, but the validity, legitimacy to this that he would actually go back to college is what, in your opinion?
I mean, you can't assume that he never would, but consider this, Dan. He has never coached outside the state of California. He started with the Raiders in 2002. He's never been outside of California. It's almost a given in media circles that his wife doesn't want to leave California. There aren't a whole lot of options there. I think this is about squeezing the Raiders. And 4 years ago, Michigan offered 5-2. And ultimately, the 49ers offered him 5. They wanted to pay 4 to 4.5. Having that Michigan offer out there at 8 ends up putting him in position to get more from the Raiders. And it also puts the squeeze on the 49ers to take less in trade. Because if he goes to Michigan, they don't get anything. So they better be happy with whatever they get from the Raiders or whoever else. And I assume at this point the Raiders are the top choice for Harbaugh, and that Harbaugh is the top choice for the Raiders. And I guess if all else blows up, then you take solace in $8 million a year from Michigan.
Thank you, Mike.
See you, buddy.
Mike Florio, Pro Football Talk. You can see him Monday through Friday, 5:30 Eastern on NBCSN on Pro Football Talk.